before we get started talking about circles and cylinders, this here is the aforementioned cheat sheet I was talking about. I would print this out and then I would fill it out by hand as we go through the geometry video series. We will be starting here in the middle with circles and cylinders, and everything on this cheat sheet represents 100% of what you need to know for geometry. So if you fill it out thoroughly, you should never have to go back and reference these videos. And maybe at the end of each section, I will make a summary video where you can reconcile your cheat sheet with mine. But we'll be starting here. Let's start talking about the two most fundamental things you need to know for circles and cylinders. So we're talking about circles, and the two things you need to know how to find the area of a circle. You need to know how to find the circumference of a circle. So the area of a circle is, say it with me, pi r squared. The circumference of a circle, so circumference is just the distance around a circle. This is equal to 2 pi r, 2 pi times the radius. And since 2 times the radius is just the diameter of your circle, 2 pi r is the same as pi d. So now let's look at a GMAT question. Where we have to apply this knowledge. It will be a basic one. To start, what is the area of circle O? So we have a data sufficiency question asking us to find the area of a circle. And this is the beauty of data sufficiency. They're asking us for pi r squared. But because it's a data sufficiency question, the only thing I need in order to find pi r squared is just r. I can just rephrase this question as, what is r? Sometimes I have seen people make this mistake where they think that pi is a variable, and so they sort of think that they need to find both pi and r here. Do not make that mistake. Pi is not a variable. Pi is a number. It is approximately equal to 3.14. So don't confuse it with a variable. You will not be able to then translate your geometry data sufficiency questions. Now, if I glance ahead at the first statement, we're talking about circle O here, and then it looks like they start talking about circle P. So maybe I should specify that we need the radius of circle O. So statement 1 says, circle P has a circumference of 14 pi, and so that means 2 pi r, but we're talking about circle P here, so it's 2 pi r p is equal to 14 pi. So I can see right off the bat that this is going to be insufficient because I had never even heard of this circle P until now. Although circle P does sound like a cool name for a band, it is completely irrelevant. Circle O. So this will be insufficient. I can, if I want, I can find the radius of circle P, and it might come in handy later. So that would be 14 pi over 2 pi, which is just 14 over 2, or 7. Still insufficient though. Statement 2 says, circle O has an area that is twice the area of circle P. So remember, with data sufficiency, when we look at the second statement, you have to pretend that you have temporary amnesia, and you got to forget about this information here. So this is as if, again, they're introducing this circle P for the first time here. And so without knowing anything about circle P, connecting circle O to circle P is not super useful. And so I can sort of quickly eliminate B for the same reason we eliminated A and D. Now, if I'm looking at them together, what do I know? I know from my first statement, the radius of circle P is equal to 7. And then I know from Statement 2. So circle O has an area. So the area of circle O is pi r O squared. And that is twice the area of circle P. But we already found the radius of circle P, so we should be able to find its area. So the area of circle P should just be pi times 7 squared, which is 49 pi, and then 2 times that should be 98 pi. And so if we are looking for the radius of circle O, it should be 98 pi over pi. So radius squared is just equal to 98. We need the radius. And remember, when we're talking about geometry, it is a real world scenario. And so it is not possible to have a negative radius. So when I take the square root of 98, it only has a positive value. Or I should say, when I take the square root of r squared, it only has a positive value. So I don't know what the square root of 98 is. It's a little bit less than 10 though. I don't need to know exactly what it is to say that our statements together are sufficient to answer this question. And this was actually a bit of a weird data sufficiency question. So this happens sometimes where we rephrased our question as, what is the radius of circle O? Or I should say, I rephrased the question thinking that that would be easier than having to find the area. But actually we had the area, which was the original question, right here. So we did a little bit more work than maybe we had to do, but it was only about 5 seconds more worth of work. So I am still a big proponent of rephrasing things, simplifying things if you can. It should really hurt you. Let's do some more complicated circle problems.